Am I live? Am I live? Gotta check real quick here. Duh. All right. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. There we go. Okay. Looks like that I am live. What about YouTube though? That's the thing. YouTube, give me a sign. What about YouTube though? That's the thing. Okay, looks like YouTube is a go. Give me a sign. All right, YouTube is a go. Hello, Kitty Vickies. It is I, Hollow of Dawn, bringing to you the second episode of the By Myself podcast with me, Hollow of Dawn. To be honest with you, actually, you know what? I'm not streaming on X right now. Not for this one. I'm going to, at the very least, I should at the very least, like share this around real quick. Okay, wait, hold on a bit. And if you hear any voices in the background, it's only because the mentor has her granddaughter over, like, you know, back over at her house again. So, she's doing her, usual thing, I suppose. But anyway, let me share this on Next real quick. Boop. Doot, doot, doot. Okay, and there we go. Shared that on Next real quick. Let's see. What about YouTube? YouTube is okay. You know what? I suppose everything looks fine for what it is. Now, yeah, as I was going to say, this is going to be a shorter episode compared to last time. If only because there's honestly not a whole lot to say at the moment on my end. That being said, well, also because it's kind of late. It's like 7:17, which I try to go for like the afternoons for this kind of thing, but I suppose I had other things going on that took up time. But I am doing this. I want to do this every Sunday, at least once. And before I get into the main topic of this episode, I want to highlight the fact that I, in fact, have a TikTok all of a sudden. Why I made it? To be honest with you, I'm questioning that myself. My impressions of the platform, well, to be honest with you, like, TikTok is kind of a mess. For one, I've had like numerous problems with how the platform even functions, right? I For one, when I initially made my account, like it said that my account I couldn't I tried logging in, right, on Chrome. It wouldn't log in on Chrome. Heck, like for some reason on Chrome it said my profile didn't even exist. So I'm using Firefox for this. And as you can see, the profile is here and I am able to log in, but that's only the tip of the iceberg, frankly. Another desktop functionality bug. I assume these are all bugs, right? Uploading has been a mixed bag. Now, at first, uploading on Firefox worked just fine. And, it seemed like, it's weird that Chrome isn't working out, but, at least Firefox can be a thing I can use this for. Use Firefox solely for this and for other purposes for the sake of live streaming. And their granddaughter is going off, having a temper tantrum in the background. I'm sorry about that. Again, I don't have any control over that. Um, but honestly, I've just been using this primarily just to upload a few things from the YouTube primarily shorts. As you can see, I got like some shorts and the first episode of The Kitten, which I mean, 38 views is whatever, man. Um, I went off topic. Basically, I at first uploading via desktop worked fine, but then suddenly I try to upload again like later on, and it just wouldn't post anything. And I'm like, what in the world? Why isn't any of my like Beeves episodes or my latest Edgar Wright like Running Man short uploading? And that's when I realized that although the desktop, app or desktop, version of TikTok is a buggy mess, the mobile version is like a hell of a lot more stable. I was able to upload the short. I was able to download my shorts from YouTube and upload them via the mobile via my phone. So that worked out fine, which is really strange because I don't know. Like you think that to be more there'd be functionality parity with other platforms. I mean, you can upload stuff from desktop and mobile on YouTube just fine in both cases. And so why the hell is the desktop version of TikTok so fucked up, man? It's all messed up. It's all buggy. It doesn't work half the time, and it's really inconvenient if you're doing like edited content. Outside of that, outside of the fact that TikTok on desktop anyway is kind of a buggy mess, the platform itself, as far as like what's available, what it does for you, et cetera, I can't. Honestly, I've been using this. I've been like scrolling some of this stuff, and honestly, like, why? How the hell did this platform even take off in the first place? Like, I'm questioning that myself, like right now, because a lot of the stuff on this platform is just garbage. Like it's literally garbage. Like a lot of the stuff on this site, like a majority, you scroll. Okay, let me go for the For You. That is terrible. Okay, why the fuck is it so loud? I mean, let's play this. Let's low volume. I mean, look at this.
Giving my son full body tattoos.
What? No. This is it. Like this is the entire platform in a nutshell. I don't get it. I don't get it. Like why?
It makes me special.
Of course, they got AI videos and all that, which apparently AI RAM prices have only gone up since the last time, and like what in a week already, RAM prices have gone up even higher than they were like the last time I streamed. Jesus Christ, what the fuck, dude? But anyway, getting back on this platform it's literally a dumpster. Is a dumpster all that people is dumpster content all people want nowadays? Seriously, what the fuck half the time I don't even know what the hell I'm even like looking at when I scroll past some of this stuff. It's like I had low expectations for TikTok in the first place. They're even lower somehow. They're even lower. Like I had like very low expectations, and somehow it managed to break those low expectations. Um, no, not break them. That's the wrong. It didn't even match my low expectations. If anything, it's in a crater now, and and I just can't believe this site exists. This platform exists, and it's a thing that people actually use. Hell, let's go to the shop real quick. What the fuck is even on here? I haven't checked the shop for anything. But all this is like it literally is all just a bunch of low grade Timu ass fucking disgusting knockoff low quality products. Gaming and consoles. Let's see this shit. It's just Hall Effect, a generic Hall Effect keyboard that probably isn't okay. Let's see here. Hall Effect 68 Hall Effect gaming keyboard, 60% mechanical. By the way, I'm using a Hall Effect. I recently got myself a Keychron. I'm using a Keychron keyboard, so I can basically be a judge on this kind of shit. Okay, for one, why the fuck is it called mechanical when it's supposedly Hall Effect? Or I don't know. Is there a difference between calling something a mechanical and Hall Effect? Can they be interchangeable? I don't know. I don't know shit about keyboards, honestly. Still, all I know is that my Keychron feels good to use. But I mean, just look at this crap. This is all stuff that wouldn't even make it onto fucking Five Below. Like, what even is this crap? Sometimes, I'm looking. I'm okay. I'm gracing my eyeballs upon the listings. HTC. Are you? Wow, HTC's on. That's a brand name I haven't heard in a long time. Okay, this is just. Yeah. What even is this? Hmm. A knockoff AirPod Maxes, which I never got the appeal of the AirPod Maxes. For one, I don't like their design in the first place, but also I tried the demo units a few times at like Best Buy or something. They don't sound that great. I don't like the sound that the AirPod Maxes put out. This is coming from someone who's tried a variety of headphones, ranging from low grade. I'm using a fucking was it a goddamn Audio Technica right now for this to something like a Focal Utopia. So I know what the hell I'm talking about when I say that the AirPod Maxes don't sound that good. There are other wireless headphones that sound better than it does. But yeah. Shit. Where the fuck? I accidentally closed the tab to TikTok. Here we go. Got 11 new activities. Okay. So, I mean, yeah, apparently, this is more or less like YouTube in a way, as far as like the algorithm goes. It's the draw of the hat. Well, then again, all video sharing sites are more or less a draw of the hat. Really, I mean, Twitch itself is like the draw of the hat, for fuck's sake. But this is I don't know. TikTok, I not only does the algorithm get you less views in general from me, my experience anyway, but okay, so for example, TikTok has this thing, and YouTube started doing this a while back as well, where you can promote certain videos, and TikTok has this. And to be fair to TikTok, promoting a video is a lot less of a hassle and a lot less of a weird process compared to YouTube. I mean, I tried fucking promoting a video once on YouTube, and I don't know what happened, but for some reason my ad account for you on YouTube, my Google ads account was like canceled or something. There's basically a conflict with YouTube when I tried promoting one of my videos in the past. So I haven't used the feature since. But TikTok, it's more straightforward. You just pay this amount for how many, it could be a day, it could be multiple days. You pay this and you pay it, and it just kind of promotes your video. And that's what I did for this one particular video right here, which is the previously uploaded Beeves episode, designer versus programmer. Already on YouTube, but uploaded on here just to see what happens. And I decided to use this video as like a guinea pig for the promote feature. So I promoted this particular short, right? And to be fair, it does what it says on the tin. It did in fact it has gotten over 1,000 views from promotions. It's got over 100 likes, 10 bookmarks or whatever the hell you call it, 10 favorites or whatever. So it does what it says it does. It says it's going to do, but what I've learned from TikTok here, and I guess this is true for any like video sharing site with a promote feature like YouTube, just because your video gets views doesn't mean you get more of a viewer base. Because yes, like I managed to get over 1,000 views, like almost 1,400 views on this one video, as you can see there. But I'm still at like 3 followers, right? 119 likes. So yeah, just because. So this is your video is basically what I'm trying to say is that your video, even if it gets views, you're not you're not getting a viewer base in return or rather in tandem with the view count. More this is more of the case on here than on YouTube, where at least if you get like a viral video on YouTube, it does sort of, if you have other stuff that's more or less in line with what you posted that went viral. It's easier to get a viewer base on YouTube than it is to get on TikTok based on my experimentation so far. This site really is the most disposable, low quality like crap. Like this really is like for. I mean, this really is like the fuck AI video. You got this pointless bullshit. You got this thing. You got this thing. This thing. They're all just this like really shitty, low quality, low effort, like little to no effort, like slop. Basically, this is a slop site. This really is like what I expected. This is slop, and I don't like it. If this kind of site is the future, we are fucked harder than I expected, boy. We are so fucked. We are so, well, as the kids say, cooked. I guess that's what the kids say, right? They say cooked. I wouldn't. I'm kind of out of touch considering the fact that I'm like in my 30s now. I'm getting old, boy. I'm getting so fucking old. Good lord. But yeah. Anyway, my I think TikTok, as the kids say, is mid, which is kind of a weird thing to say considering mid means should relate to medium or something, which means middle of the road, not something that's you know, like low or some shit, like low quality. If it's that's you would just call it trash in that case, just straight up trash. But no, kids use the term mid instead. But I'm getting off. I'm getting on another tangent. Basically, TikTok. I've used it. I can say that I've used it. I've uploaded a few things. I'm gonna continue using it to upload like certain things, primarily shorts, I guess, but because that's what the platform is mostly for. It's for short form content. Usually garbage. Usually a lot of garbage on the site, and yeah, um, TikTok is mid. It's terrible. It's worse than I expected in some respects, actually. But I get that's TikTok is not the main topic of this episode. The main topic, I suppose, will be the fact that I actually went to the movie theater like days ago. Was this? I think this was like, yeah, this was I believe this was either Friday. My memory's all fucky. I think this was Friday actually. I went ahead and finally went and saw The Running Man by Edgar Wright. And you know what? I don't know about this one cuz it's I'm going to say that it's not the worst film I've ever seen. It really isn't. There are a lot worse films. There are a lot other films that are less focused than The Running Man. Other films that are less fun than The Running Man, films that are less creative than The Running Man. The biggest example of a film that is, guilty of being worse than this is the Uncharted movie. If you can even remember the Uncharted movie, yeah, Uncharted had a movie and it was like really, really boring and on the middle of the road to the point of just being some of the most. It was miserable. It was a miserable movie. But I got through it, and The Running Man is at least better than that. It's better than the Uncharted movie, which is not a high bar to clear, to be fair. I wouldn't have bothered with this film if it wasn't for the fact that Edgar Wright was the director on this, right? Because Edgar Wright, he's an auteur. He's one of the few remaining auteur directors working in the field today, in cinema today. Doing his thing, and hopefully, making something that's enjoyable. Because when he makes a film, you can tell that he made it just by watching it. You don't get that with a lot of filmmakers, especially nowadays. Nowadays, a lot of films, they're more or less the same, kind of the same thing, kind of elicit the same emotions, really. So I came into this not looking at any reviews that spoil the film in any real way. That don't really go into in depth into the film. Like I didn't see the YMS video. I didn't see the review by Double Toasted or any other YouTube channel covering The Running Man. I went into this, more or less blind, actually. Like I did not knowing anything about what happens in the plot, etc., etc. And I'm glad I did because, I mean, I've had time to gather my thoughts on The Running Man because this film could have been great. It should have been great. actually. This should have been a great film. At least not maybe okay, maybe not great, but it should have been fun at the very least. This film should have been an enjoyable romp, considering the director, at the very least. I am disappointed. And although my day wasn't ruined when I finished it, it makes me wonder, like, I don't know. Does Edgar Wright even have a future after this? I mean, he managed to recover, like, after the box office failure of Scott Pilgrim, right? He went on to make The World's End and then Baby Driver and Last Night in Soho after, which you can say what you want about Last Night in Soho. It was fine. It was an all right film. It was definitely his lowest point at the time when it released. But okay, I actually liked Last Night in Soho more than I liked The World's End, actually. So I wouldn't say that Last Night in Soho for me was like the lowest point. But I see the 6.7 out of 10. And usually I don't always agree with what IMDb or Letterboxd or whatever has to say or rate a film. Not all the time. Not sometimes IMDb and Letterbox can get shit wrong. I mean, let's face it. Let me look up Spider-Man 2 for fuck's sake. Spider-Man 2, Sam Raimi Spider-Man 2 is 7.5 out of 10 on this fucking site. And I just go, "Are you fucking shitting me?" Spider-Man 2 is amazing. Spider-Man 2 is one of the greatest goddamn films of all time as far as I'm concerned. It is so good. It's a 7.5 out of 10 on here. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. So that's one example of why, I don't always, trust IMDb. I try to see if I can watch a film and, view it for what it is. I gave this film the benefit of the doubt, and it actually kind of burned me a little bit. This 6.7 out of 10 is more or less accurate. Okay, maybe not a 6.7. It's more of like a flat, maybe like a 5.5 out of 10. This should be a 5.5 out of 10. That would be a much more like completely accurate score I would give it. Which sucks because the first half of the film is actually pretty good. Like literally the first half of this film is genuinely entertaining. It starts out very promising, a gray look aside. I don't know why this film looks so gray and desaturated compared to other Edgar Wright films. Because Edgar Wright's films, tend to skew towards being a little more vibrant. Usually, it could be the fact. It could be actually who's the cinematographer for this film. I need to look at it. It could be the cinematographer. Like usually Edgar Wright. Well, Edgar Wright has worked with the likes of God. What's his name? He was the cinematographer for, was it Bill Pope? Is that his name? I assume Bill Pope is the name of Edgar Wright's, you know, typical cinematographer. He definitely did. If I remember correctly, he. God damn it! Where the fuck is? I really hate this layout. This IMDb has changed its layout so many times, and it's like I hate it. I hate this layout. Oh, here it is. Cast and crew. Who's the cinematographer? Chung Hoon Chung. I assume this is a Korean director, a cinematographer rather. Yeah, okay. Oh, he did Old Boy. This dude did cinematography for Old Boy. Interesting. And Last Night in Soho. Okay. Hmm. But usually, let's see here. Edgar Wright usually has worked with a different cinematographer. Bill, I assume is Bill Pope, who did the stuff for the original Matrix and all that cinematography with the original Matrix. Let's look at who. Let's see. Jess Hall was the cinematographer for basically. I expected a more vibrant picture, from an Edgar Wright film. It made sense to be a little desaturated for something like Last Night in Soho, considering it's more of a horror film. Yeah, Bill Pope was the director of photography for freaking Baby Driver and Scott Pilgrim. I believe The World's End as well, if I remember. Yeah, The World's End as well. Cinematographer to that. I got off topic, of course, looking through all this. Basically, what I'm trying to say is this film is simultaneously colorful and gray as fuck at the same time, somehow. And it does kind of distract you if you know of Edgar Wright's other films, because they're typically, more, lively and more, pump. They pop. Edgar Wright's films tend to pop out visually to match his directing style, which is more energetic and visually rich and active. And usually the editing is what dictates the flow of an Edgar Wright film. Especially his comedies. This film looks so weird because it's not lifeless looking, but it's also doesn't have much of a soul, if that makes any sense. Like, visually speaking, it doesn't have a soulful appearance like a Scott Pilgrim or even a Baby Driver. Let's get off the topic of the cinematography, though, which, despite being a bit of a kind of a mess in its own right, you think that, okay, the rest of okay, it looks kind of soulless, but hopefully, other aspects like the editing style and, the directing and the cast and the writing, hopefully that'll pick up the slack, because it usually does, even in Edgar Wright's other, like, lesser films like The World's End. At least you can expect witty writing and clever directing and editing choices to save the day. I cannot remember a single shot aside from maybe one. And that is like the apartment. I assume it's the apartment sequence where um Glen Powell, who's the main lead, uh goes through a window and, changes into, and basically he's running down a hallway. And I thought, and there's gunfire all over the place, and he's just trying to escape from the hunters, and that's good. It's all in one shot. It's right here, like right here. This is like the one. This is the one shot. If you can see this, this is the one thing that I really liked looking at in this, like, in this entire film. I remember that. You know, him just it's literally him just running down a hallway. The rest of the film, like there there's like literally no other point in the film that is iconic as far as or memorable as far as like visuals. Edgar Wright is a visual director. What the fuck is he doing making something this visually muted and subdued? Last Night in Soho had more creativity than this. And that's just like one problem. That's one problem. The directing in general for the film is kind of all over the place. As I said in my in my short from earlier, um, it's trying to be serious. It's also trying to be, trying to be funny. It's also trying to be witty and failing. It's kind of the writing is a downgrade. Um, the the pacing is it goes up and it goes down. The speed of which the film goes, like this thing is like what, like almost 2.5 hours long, and you kind of feel that length, like in the second half in particular. Um, the first half is where the film is at its best because it actually feels like an Edgar Wright film, like in the first half, with the setup and the music and the pieces and and the it more or less is what the trailer seems to promise at first. This fun action romp full of thrills and suspense and you know and you know like tasteful music choices and interesting set pieces and zoom in, zoom out, cut, rapid cut editing that he's known for. That's really, really energetic and at first you start to have a bit of fun in the like the first hour or so, or within the first hour, or maybe I wouldn't say first hour, maybe 40 minutes is more accurate. Like 40 minutes to an hour the film is at its best, and I would say that it kind of sets up the expectation that the rest of the film is going to be just like this, which would have been great. And then the second half happens. The film just gets, I don't know, the film just kind of gets worse as it goes on, like after that first hour. It starts getting more serious, a lot more serious than the first half, where you think it'd be fun. You think, I mean, it has a message. Clearly, the message that it has like is supercharged. There's little to no subtlety, and really, if you're going to make a satire, it doesn't always have to be subtle, right? Satire is satire. It can be obvious. It can be subdued in the background, however, but as long as the message is coherent and it makes sense for what you're trying to do with the story, again, satire is satire. It works if everything just kind of meshes together. At first, the message is, well, it's clear. It's about as subtle as a chainsaw, but it works, especially for the setup. The premise is you got Glen Powell's character. Oh, was it Ben Richards? I believe his name is. He basically joins this game show in this fucked up dystopia world gone to shit. Just he enters this dangerous game show just so he can afford his family, flu medicine for his baby. Because because he can't get a job because he's blacklisted for reasons that, admittedly, okay, it establishes him as an angry guy, but he has a good heart. He's an angry character, but he is a well-intentioned and good-hearted, kind of like angry person with and that anger is, I guess it does justify it because the world itself is really harsh. It's a harsh world in The Running Man. So it makes sense that he's always angry. And when he tries to do the right thing, it always, blows up in his face. So already the setup is good. It's a good setup. I so I have no problems with the premise. It's where it goes that I have a problem with. Suffice to say, the first half, although the first half, is not subtle about what it's trying to say, the second half is where it you ever hear a speech, someone like, and yeah, you ever like experience a speech about a topic, about a serious topic that needs attention, and at first the person giving that speech is going through all the talking points. He's passionate, or he or she, this person doing the speech is passionate, and is giving him or her all into the speech about a message, and you kind of feel it. You feel that passion coming from this person, and at first it's coherent, it's lively, it's emotional, and it has something really important to say. Then it keeps going and going and going. And this speech repeats the same exact thing over and over and over and over again ad nauseum, to the point where it starts to grate on you after a while for how much the message is just taking over everything this person is trying to say. That's The Running Man in after a while. Like, this film has literally only one thing to say, and that's about it. Like, when it doesn't have much else to say, like, outside of like the whole dystopia thing, how people are brainwashed by, everybody's brainwashed by television and fake news, and the truth is being blurred by by higher powers, and we need to fight back. We need to start a revolution, a resistance to all the bullshit. We need the truth and all that jazz. And and at first you kind of get it, and then it just keeps repeating the same thing in your face over and over again, and it just gets annoying. It just gets really fucking annoying after a while. Like, it's satire. It's supposed to be satire, and and at first you understand, and you let it take its course, but then you realize, like, as the film goes on, that's all it has to say going for it, like, thematically. And it's like, this is getting really preachy, and not preachy in a way that is clever or witty, as one would expect from an Edgar Wright film, but it's just It's preachy in the most annoying way possible by the end. It's so like it just kind of like it's so passionate about this one thing. It forgets about everything else going on. And it's like, good lord, man. Are you kidding me with this? I thought by the second half, like, or rather by the midpoint of the second half, the film just kind of wastes your time with this one thing thematically. And it's like, oh, you just want it to end, but it doesn't end. It just keeps going and going. The film isn't over until it says it's over. By the point of like the 1 hour 50 mark, I'm just done. I was just done with this film. Like, this film should have been under 2 hours. It could have been under 2 hours with a few changes, actually. I can imagine. I'm not going to be one of those people that practically makes, like fan fiction, essentially, like trying to rewrite their own, like the film in their own vision, like some people do. You know how you watch a review and you like you hear someone just kind of go off about how the film should have gone in their perspective, essentially burp rewriting the film, like reinterpreting the film on their own. I'm not going to be that guy because filmmaking is a hard thing to do in the first place. What I am going to say is this film could have been a little bit shorter with a few changes. At one point, there's a character near the end, a woman character by the end, who is suddenly introduced. We don't know anything about her, or at least not anything that is like relevant to the story. But the film treats her like she's this major character. Like she's like, yeah, like all the she was on screen there for a little bit. Basically, who's she? Who's her actress? Who's her actress? Is it Cynthia? No, no, no. That's composer. That's not it. But okay, basically, there's at some point the film introduces a woman character in near the end of the film who's treated like she is the most, like, one of the most important characters in the story. But not only is the film like almost over, we don't know anything about her, or if we do know something about her, it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant to the rest of the story because, yeah, I mean, the film is almost over. This character is treated like she's been there the whole time. Was it Katie O'Brien? No, that's the other. That's not her. Who who the hell played this one character? Look at this. Like, IMDb doesn't even treat this one actress or this one character like with any real regard. I'm having a difficulty trying to find this character's actress right now on this fucking site. Duval? No, it's not Duval. Is that Amelia Jones? Yeah, here we go. Amelia Jones. We have to scroll down all the way down here to find her character like listing, her cast listing. But yeah, her Amelia Jones's character is treated with so much regard near the end of the film that it makes you wonder, like, was she cut down? Was her role cut down? Like, like in later drafts of the script or some shit. Because why is she so important all of a sudden? Why is her character so important that she's given all this attention near the end of the film? Like she's a major character. It's weird, man. It sticks out like a sore thumb. And that's just another problem out of many. Like the writing is, I mean, it tries to be witty. It tries to be, an Edgar Wright film in terms of writing. I can not remember a single line from this. Like I can remember, the fucking, the scenes where, was it fuck, what's his name? Basically, Sean, whoever played the Sean, yeah, fuck. I mean, you know what? Fuck it. It's been a while since I've seen Shaun of the Dead, right? Simon Pegg. You know how Simon Pegg in Shaun of the Dead, recounts, oh, okay, let's grab mom, blah blah blah, and go to the Winchester and wait for all of this to blow over. That's you remember that because it's ridiculous how this one dude just has such a flawed plan, but it's treated like it's the best plan ever. Like he's clever, or how in Baby Driver, yeah, Baby Driver's full of, memorable quotes, of zingers. I'm going to call them zingers because Edgar Wright's films tend to have zingers in their writing that that make moments memorable. Like BABY baby, or the opening of Baby Driver in itself is like really cool. It's stylish and well directed and all that. You can rewatch that whole thing over and over again, still see something new. Or fuck, Hot Fuzz is full of memorable, moments like, the swan the the freaking barn with all the weapons stuff and how much, weapons they have to like, confiscate into the police, into the town's like police like armory and all that, or evidence locker or evidence area rather, or the what basically, you got memorable moments. Scott Pilgrim has, memorable moments, like like the fights with the evil exes, or you know God, I'm blanking out because I'm so bad at this. But basically, Edgar Wright films are tend to be fun, and they tend to be fun partially because they are written well. This film is not written all that well, aside from maybe a few characters actually. Aside, yeah, a few characters are written well, like Josh Brolin's character. Like Josh Brolin totally gets the character he's playing, right? It tries to be, have zingers. It might as well be written by Vizzy Pop with how uncreative some of the writing is. It's like, literally there are some moments in the film where you kind of hear all this dialogue coming out of these characters' mouths and you go, did Vizzy Pop write this? Like seriously, did Vizzy Pop write this? I want to know if she wrote this, because this is the opposite of what I expect from an Edgar Wright film. Like this is horrendous. Some of this dialogue. Like literally the best. Some of the best dialogue is literally like on screen right now. Like it's in the some of the best dialogue is in the trailer. Like right, like the trailers spoil all of the best like dialogue. The rest of it is not. Like there's a good reason why some of the dialogue, why like a lot of the good dialogue or some of the zingers are in the trailers, because those are the only points in the film that are even remotely, zingy in a way, so to speak. There's some there the freaking trailers spoil some of the spicier, some of the more impactful, some of the more, interesting moments. The rest of the film is shockingly subdued and real and preachy and generically directed and just very very stock, uh, which is, we shouldn't be saying that for an Edgar Wright film. Edgar Wright's films are anything but stock. But no, like there are points in this film where you kind of watch it and you don't feel anything, even when you should. Even in the action scenes, some of the choices they make are kind vary from stock to you just kind of scratch your head. Some of the directing choices in this film, but that's not even the worst part. You can. Here's my philosophy: a film doesn't need to always have the best directing. It doesn't always need to have the best dialogue or the best, the best. It doesn't have to be the best written thing ever. It doesn't have to, be like the most like well shot, most, cleverly edited thing ever. Because if that was the case, I wouldn't enjoy like a lot of films. Really, there would be a lot of films I wouldn't enjoy if my bar was so specific. The Running Man didn't have to be all that clever. It didn't have to be all that witty. It didn't have to be all that, visually interesting. It didn't need to be all that, you know, paced, evenly and, all that jazz. It didn't need to have the most consistent tone if it at least ended well, right? If the ending was all right, or better yet, if the ending was good, at the very least, I can forgive a film if it ends well. If the ending is like, actually, coherent and put together and, earned. I think that's the word. An ending has to be earned for me to forgive a film's shortcomings. The ending of The Running Man is one of the worst endings I have ever seen. Like it is what kills the film for me. Like I literally like as the credits rolled, I physically was like flabbergasted. Like literally my arms were like kind of to their side, kind of like a why kind of gesture. Like subconsciously I was just flabbergasted and absolutely just shocked by what I just saw just now, and that was the ending. The ending was just like it is simultaneously rushed. No, I was saying that the film is the ending is rushed is like putting it mildly. The ending is unearned. It does not earn its ending. It does not have the build up to end the way it does. It does not have the substance and the, gravitas and the momentum to end the way that it does. It the film just kind of ends. And after like over an hour of some of the worst material Edgar Wright has ever thrown on film or digital film or whatever the fuck, whatever you want to say, digital video, basic. What I'm trying to say is this is after over an hour of the second half. The way it ends is like the opposite of a cherry on top. Like it is a punch to the face. Like after like enduring just a laborious, like almost uncreative, wannabe clever, like horseshit like I have ever seen from an from a major motion picture, from a guy who is known for bringing some of the most entertaining and interesting, things to a film. And even if you don't like an Edgar Wright film, it's at least interesting. And this film is both not only not very interesting, like by the second half, it ends poorly. A lot of things are unearned. YMS was right about certain things of just being unearned. The character, character arcs, the way they end, unearned. The ending, as I already said and just elaborated on, is unearned. Some of the, thematic, payoffs are unearned. Like certain things just kind of stop in their tracks. And the film ends right there. And it just made me feel like I wasted my time, when the credits rolled. Like, this is coming from a guy who, even when his films end on an ambiguous note, or just end on a note that is atypical of a Hollywood picture, it's earned still. The ending of Shaun of the Dead is earned. The ending of Hot Fuzz is earned. Scott Pilgrim's ending, you can debate it. You can debate whether or not it's earned, but at least you can talk about it. World's End. The World's End. The way the World's End ends is kind of weird. But again, you can still talk about it. Baby Driver's ending, very satisfying. I love the ending of Baby Driver. Last Night in Soho, it's mostly harmless the way it ends. The Running Man, punch to the gut. It punches you in the gut by when the credits roll. It's so bad. It is atrocious. That ending is just atrocious, man. Absolutely atrocious. God awful. It makes you regret spending money on a ticket, seeing that the last frame before the credits go by. My God, that was terrible. That was so terrible. Oh my God. This film, if it wasn't for the fact that the first half is good, Some of the set pieces are kind of clever, kind of. The premise is understandable, if not clever. If the satire, at least in the first half, wasn't so, understandable. If the cast, at least, if it wasn't for the cast, at least trying, and you know, to its credit, the film's cast do mostly a good job. Like, I thought Glen Powell did a good job for the most part, though there are points, where his performance is a little underacted. He makes up for it in terms of his physicality and charisma, and his occasional charm and all that jazz. Movie star material. You can tell he's trying to make it work. Josh Brolin, he's really good in this film as the villain. You know, if it wasn't for all of that, being in there, this film would be a dumpster fire. If it wasn't for the stuff that it does get right, which is some of the set pieces, the acting performances are good. Some of the music, I liked some of the music actually. Some of the musical score is, I want to listen to on its own. The signature, Edgar Wright music choices for the licensed soundtrack, I liked. You know, it's again, like, the first half is good, then the second half is bad, and the ending is atrocious. So overall, I would give this like a 5 out of 10. This is a 5 out of 10 movie. This is no, I would give this film a 4 out of 10. Actually, if only because the ending really is that bad. Like, the ending is just that bad. It's what ruins the film, as I said. Uh yeah, if it wasn't for, some of the good things, this would be a 2 out of 10, actually. Like, this would be a 2 out of 10. This would be one of the worst films I have ever fucking seen if it wasn't for the fact that the first half is actually enjoyable. And some of the decisions that they make are that Edgar Wright made, at least some of it's good. A lot of it is bad. Oh my god. Um I don't know what else to say about, this film. I don't want to watch it again. I think that's the biggest, like, problem with The Running Man is I saw it. I never want to see it again, which I suppose is the same problem with Last Night in Soho and The World's End. The World's End and Last Night in Soho are Edgar Wright's least rewatchable films. Before this, I don't want to rewatch The World's End. After I saw it once, I don't want to rewatch Last Night in Soho after seeing it once. But I would say that those are at least enjoyable films, while this isn't. So yeah, The Running Man by Edgar Wright. It is his first bad film. That was just a disgusting experience. Not disgusting in the schlocky B movie way, like I was kind of expecting, and as the trailers sort of hinted at, because that would have been more enjoyable than what we got. Disgusting in the fact that I had trust in this film going in, and it broke it. I do not like this film. It is bad. It is Edgar Wright's first L, as the kids would say. As the last topic on this podcast episode, this will be quick. Valve confirms Steam Machine we priced like a PC with the same level of performance. So this will not be priced like a console. This will, which I kind of expected, honestly. You know, if you're getting, yeah, like if you're gonna get like a PC with this kind of like research and development and these kind of specifications and use case, you know, scenarios and design and blah 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 blah, it's not going to be cheap, guys. The Steam Machine, they're not going to sell this at a loss. They want to make their money back on each unit. Let's go through this. Announced earlier this week, Steam Machine is a 6-inch console-like cube, over 6 times the horsepower of a Steam Deck, which that alone should clue you in that this is not going to be a cheap thing. This is going to be a relatively, not the most unaffordable thing, but not the most affordable thing to either, especially with the recent hikes in, you know, memory prices, all that shit, you know, all that crap. Um, Speaking to the Friends Per Second podcast, Valve's Pierre Le Graffai, or I don't know how, French name, claimed that the Steam Machine price had not been nailed down internally, but that Valve's aim was to offer a good deal in line with equivalently powered PCs. Hopefully, maybe around $700 to $800. Maybe. We'll see. Gotta wait till next year. I think that if you build a PC from parts and get to basically the same level of performance, that's the general price window that we aim to be at. Alright, so I'm not going to read the whole thing. You can read it for yourself by doing a Google search. Basically, this is not going to be a console. You know, this is not going to be console priced. It's going to be an entry level gaming PC price, which could range from somewhere from $600 to $1,000. So yeah, I think that's going to be it for this one, Kitty Vicky's. This has been by myself with Hollow of Dawn. Powell is in fact the running man because he makes TikToks. Not really. He doesn't make TikToks, though. He does record messages on video in the film, but they're not TikToks. They might as well be TikToks. That would have added to the satire, actually, now that I think about it. But yeah, oh, wrong thing. Anyway, this is going to be it for this episode. Literally by myself with this one, but hey, hopefully anybody could watch the VOD, the very least. Yeah. This is, as I said, this was a shorter episode than the previous, and I'm going to leave it at that. So until next time, Kitty Vickies, it is I, Hollow of Dawn, signing out of this episode. Have a good one. Have a good one, Kitty Vickies. Hope anybody can watch the VOD once I hit stop streaming.